Bum, 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 bum. As the police go by my house, couple of fire trucks and an ambulance. Sounds like they going across the street. So, mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. What's up, fuckers? Hello, ladies. Um, I was going to talk about something, and then when I walked in here, I started doing the music, and then a bunch of fire trucks and police and ambulance went past my house while I was walking into the closet, and I lost everything that I was going to talk about. Because I never come in here with any kind of plan. I never come in here with bullet points. I never come in here with anything. I come in here with a very general subject to talk about. And I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something. So, I believe it was something to do with human nature, but I don't exactly remember what the human nature was. So what we're going to talk about today is just humans in general. A lot of humans think that they're better than other animals. They seem to forget that most mammals have lungs and hearts and livers and spines and hair and skin and quite literally everything that we have that makes us who we are. The only difference is the gray matter inside of your skull. So when you compare yourself to a frog or an ant even though they're slightly different and composed differently physically, you're no different. There's no difference between you and an ant. That's one thing I really wanted to get into. Like RZA, Bobby Didge. Like if you're looking at any of my videos, which I very highly doubt because I haven't told anybody. That's another thing, guys. I'm not telling anybody because right now I'm trying to work through like the basics. I'm trying to get you like the basic concepts of life as best I can on no budget, on no schedule, with no backing, with no help. I'm just trying to give you guys the basics of life and give it to you in a free resource that not only doesn't have commercial interruptions, but also should not in any way cause you any kind of loss. Um, so, I mean, I very highly doubt that YouTube is actually going to promote these videos because I'm not monetizing it, which means that they're not going to monetize it and they're not going to make 80% of the cut that they would have gave me the rest of the 20% of or whatever. I mean, more than likely they make 90% and give the creator 10%, but regardless. So, when it comes down to it, Bobby Ditch, Mr. RZA, how do you deal with ants, spiders, cockroaches, and you lived in New York, so how do you deal with rats? Because I saw you on Joe Rogan and I was wondering, I was like, okay, I've had so many vegans tell me that they will not take another life to sustain their own, but they constantly kill plants, which are life. And then the whole thing of, do they drive a vehicle? Because if they drive a vehicle, then as they drive down the road, they take thousands of lives every few miles. bugs splatting on the screen. The bugs are no different than you or I. They're trying to go find a mate, trying to do their thing, live, eat, survive, build something, build a community. I mean, even cockroaches. I mean, we see these things as pests, but they're still living things. And one of the things about vegans that I don't really understand is that they constantly say that they don't like to take other people's other lives to sustain their own. But there is no way to sustain your own without other life. You can't eat rocks. You can't eat air. You can drink as much water as you'd like, but it ain't going to do anything for you except keep you hydrated. There's literally nothing on this planet that you can use to sustain yourself that isn't life based. That's how life works. There's no animal or species, organism, germ, virus, cell, amoeba that does not use other life to sustain its own life. So, as a general rule, the question that I want to ask to vegans and vegetarians is it okay to kill to sustain your life? Because you told me it isn't, but that's what you do on the daily. See, yeah, we have a life cycle. Everything has a life cycle. You're either a predator or prey. Even corn grows, it dies, it goes bad. We have to eat it. You're still killing it while it's ripe. You're not allowing the normal progression. Neither does any of the other animals or the pests or anything that get into the corn. I mean, everything from weevils to rabbits. I mean, it's to sustain life. And just because we can't communicate with plants doesn't mean that they're not a life form and that they don't grow, they don't heal. I mean, they have all of the same aspects. Their sap is their blood, the bark is their skin, the leaves are their hair. They have circulatory systems that pump sap, their blood. I mean, what makes a tree so different than you and me? Other than it doesn't have a physical meat brain somewhere inside of it. It still thinks, it still knows it still knows when it's injured. How else could it heal itself? Right? There's no way that a plant could heal itself if it didn't know that it was injured. Whether that's consciousness or whatever you'd like to say, it happens. Just the same way as we know our bodies are in pain because of chemical reactions. So do the plants. We just have language now to be able to say what we mean or feel. I mean, nothing separates us from animals or plants except for our thumbs and pencils. Nothing. If we did not write down this information, all of it would be lost. You look at all of the populations um, that were word based and never made a tablet, never made paper, never did anything to put it in stone, and their words will never live on. Their information will never live on. There could have been a society on Earth that was 10 times more advanced than anything that we have nowadays on a small island. And then they might have done some stupid shit and blown themselves up. And nobody wouldn't be the wiser. And even if one or two people escaped, they wouldn't be specialists in everything else or be able to explain it to anybody else. I mean, there's so much information humans lose through people dying. There are geniuses that never had the money to get their invention idea out to the world. They could have changed the world a million years ago, but they just didn't have the opportunity to get it out to the entire world to change people's lives. There are the inventors that made an invention that got purchased by oil companies, car companies, electric companies, health insurance companies, all of the big companies that have the access to the capital to be able to buy out smaller people. And to be honest, when it's dealing with that high of a cash level, you're also talking about the threat of death. You know, when these people, because there's such a large machine with the industries that have power over everything, And certain industries that are literally ran by entire countries, kingdoms, princes, so on and so forth, that can literally just say cut his head off. You have an issue where certain people that are smart enough to make and design something that can change the world know that their lives are in danger, because at any point in time, if they're going to take away $1 million a week revenue from this prince or this CEO, they may just lose their life because they're just one person in the machine, and they're just a small cog, and that cog can be lost without the rest of the world even noticing. So when it comes to humans, there's a lot to us. We have lots of ideas. We do stupid shit all the time. The smartest of us do stupid shit all the time. There's something about humans that they think that because they're smart in one aspect, that they're smart in another aspect. I'm smart in a lot of aspects, but I am a complete and utter dumbass when it comes to other aspects of life. You can't know everything. And if you think that you know everything, you're a fucking idiot. Yes, you. If you think you know everything, you're a fucking idiot. I got no problem saying that, because that's one of the dumbest things anybody can think. Thinking that you're smarter than everybody in the room, you're a fucking idiot. Just because somebody doesn't talk don't mean they're stupid. It means they're looking at you like you're fucking stupid. Like, please shut the fuck up. I don't want to listen to your ass anymore. And yeah, I could help you out, but you've been such a dick, I'm not going to. So, remember, what you do affects what you get out of life. Humans. It's the way it is. You look at dogs. Dogs communicate. They point with their snout, just like humans point with their finger. They look you in the eyes, just like humans look you in the eyes. They growl. They bark. They hiss. I mean, you think about it. Like, look at the deer hunters. Look at the people that are actually connected to nature. They don't question whether or not animals communicate, have languages, because they literally use calls that are the deer's language for certain things. Quite literally, we use language of other species to communicate with other species, mostly to trick them into coming in closer so we can kill them and eat them. But even on such a basic level, how can you possibly think that animals don't think just like us and don't have language just like us? They have everything else that we have. They just don't have any way to write down information, and the only thing that they can do is have a limited language, because they can't write down all of these different words that mean different things. Even if you look at humans, how many people have read the dictionary? How many people, even the smartest motherfuckers you have ever met in your life, know even half of the words in the dictionary? We don't. But the dictionary is there for us to go to when we need to find a word. That's the thing about language. And that's the reason that humans have an upper hand, is because while we have a very large language, most people don't know the entire language, but because of our opposable thumbs and the ability to write it down and keep things, archive things, put things into a place where other humans can see it, learn from it, use it, and build from it, that's the only thing that we've separated from the rest of the animal kingdom, is the ability to push knowledge forward. Without the ability to push knowledge forward, we would still be not washing our hands, taking shits in the water, wiping our ass with leaves, and then wiping our hands on our clothes as we go to eat. Look, we're no better than any of these animals. We're no different than most of these animals. We've came up with designs. We live in homes now. Even when we didn't, we used to build shelters and to protect us from the animals. I mean, even groundhogs build shelters. They dig under the ground up against something hard so that they make sure they have two exits just in case something comes in. I mean, we more than likely, we as human beings learned half of our homesteading from animals. We learned what we could eat by the animals eating it, so we walked up and we tried to eat it. Every once in a while, bad shit happened. But When it comes to these people that are like vegans, like I understand like if it's for your health, which it isn't actually healthy, um, because there are different there are different cultures, and people try to say that Native Americans have bigger hearts because they eat red meat all the time, and that Northern Europeans they have smaller hearts because they just had to process grains and stuff like that. But the thing that people aren't realizing is take it back a step. You guys are trying to attribute something to a culture. Problem is it can be attributed to the culture, but not the people or the species. The culture is hunting. You're going to eat a lot of red meat. Your baby is going to grow in your stomach while you're eating red meat. It's going to get the nutrients from red meat that your body is taking in. And through evolution, you're going to be able to process red meat more through a few generations. Same thing with grains. You're a farmer. Your baby eats the stuff that you put into your body. Well, baby comes out, eats the stuff you're putting into your body. They have babies, generations. They check, check. And of course, my microphone died because there's no sound coming through it. Or my headset died. It automatically shut down because it didn't have any sound coming through the headphones while I was talking. This should be interesting how I piece this together. So where was I at? Something about grains and meat. Oh yeah, doesn't have to do anything with skin color. It doesn't have anything to do with anything except for the region that you're in, the culture that you're in, and that's it. It has nothing to do with your skin tone. It has nothing to do with your color, nothing to do with your heritage at all. It has to do with where you grew up, what you were fed as a child, your babies, their babies, blah, blah, blah. It's natural. Um, so what we really need to do is focus on what's real. We've got too many people opinionated saying, hey, I'm going to be a vegan so that I can be healthy. Hey, I'm just going to eat all meat so I can be healthy. But that's not the point. We have canine teeth, right? We're supposed to eat meat. We also have molars. We're supposed to eat grains. That's the thing about humans, and that's what makes us so survivable. We have the tools to do it all. You denying a portion of that's just hurting yourself. You're holding yourself back. It's your own decision. You can do it just fine. And a lot of people, they get stuck on diets and whatnot. There's a billion diets and they're all different. I mean, there's the no carb diet, the no fat diet, the no protein diet, the no carbohydrate diet. I mean, quite literally, all these diets are is cutting out one portion of what we eat. If you would just slow your roll, pay attention to what you eat, you won't have that problem. I mean, most people aren't ripped. Yeah, you can go on a diet, you can get ripped, you can get toned, you can get thin, but unless you're born that way and just have a really high metabolism, you're probably not going to be able to do that. You can bust your ass and you can work for it, and then as soon as you start eating carbs, I mean, have you ever seen a bodybuilder cut? They cut all their carbs out, they cut all their water out, they get just ripped. And then they get done with everything. They eat one piece of pizza and drink some water, and their eyelids swell shut. Their faces look like they got stung by 200 bees, and their body just turns into fat blob because it's like a sponge that got dried out and shriveled up, like the little animals that you drop in some water and they expand. That's what happens. So you see these bodybuilders, and they're all ripped and chiseled, and they're strong and everything like that, but they spent a month not eating anything. They built up the bulk, and then they used that bulk to dissolve the fat that their body stored for survival. And then as soon as they introduced fat and carbohydrates, because carbohydrates do turn into fat, because your body stores the energy that it needs to survive, as soon as they put that back in, it just instantly swells up. Because you got to understand that once you have fat cells in your body, they never go away. They just shrink and enlarge, right? So like, say the 500 pounder that's now 200 pounds, they've still got 300 pounds of fat cells that have just shrunk. I mean, obviously, you're going to lose a little bit of a little bit of your mass, especially just cycling through your cells, dead cells, and rebuilding your body and whatnot. So it's not like they stay there forever, and it's not like it's 100%. But you do have to realize that if you're huge and you lose weight, you still have all of the cells. The cells have just gotten smaller. And it's not 100%. Don't take me on that. But what that means is that in the future, it's going to be that much harder for you to not put weight back on. Because those tiny little, 300 pounds of cells that were 300 pounds that are only now 100 pounds, those can easily swell back up and hold you down. So you need to be aware of that. Once you've been there, you've got a million times more work getting back to what you need to be. It'll take years for you to actually burn off of those cells to die off and for your body to replenish. It's not just, nothing in the human body is instant. You've got to work for it. You've got to have patience. So, now that I've got distracted, my headphone cut out, I have no idea how I'm going to piece these two together because I don't have any editing software. I'm going to try some OBS magic. I got to say, I don't have the time for this right now, and I'm going to have to cut this one short. I didn't even think I was going to be able to get in here, and now that this happened, I'm running out of time. But, most important thing, look, we're no better than any other animal or living being, including plants, on this earth. We're all here for a reason. I mean, who the hell knows what that reason is? But the reason we are here is to survive. I can tell you that much. Because once your species is gone, they're gone. There is no more. So the one thing we need to do is survive. That's the most important thing. So when you're sitting here saying that something else's life is not worth yours, that's literally the meaning of life. You're taking a life when you're eating corn. You're taking a life when you're eating bread. It doesn't look like a life, doesn't look like a living being, but that's because humans have put so much work into turning regular food into things we think are cool. Our creativeness. When we're children, we make mud pies. Only a few people have actually ate mud pies. But think about that. As children, we're creative. We make mud pies. Sometimes they're cow pies, and the little kid didn't know. So, be patient. Look at what you're doing. Take your time, because this isn't something that I see spoken about very often. It's just like people just get caught up on, they get into that circle of vegan, and everybody's like anti-meat. They push you away from meat, but they don't understand that like meat is actually important. Understand that a lot of people can't kill. I get that. Some people see blood, they pass out, like instinctually, like the goats that just fall over when you scare them, and that's fine. There's people, the butchers. Butchers chop up every damn animal there is on the planet. They don't care because it's food. Just like a lion doesn't care about biting somebody's eyeball out. We're like, ew, did you see that eyeball squish and burst? Did you see the retina go across the room? I'm sorry. But the lion doesn't give a shit. It's like, that was juicy. We've got the thing about humans is it's funny. We've got all of these things that we refuse to do. I just recently went on a dating site again just to look at it and see how everything is. And boy, I got to tell you, the pickiness and the things that these people are not willing to accept is just downright foolish. It's like, I want a good man. I want a good man. But if he doesn't do all of these bad things, then I don't want him. And it's like, wait. You want a good man? Why? Wait, you want a bad man? Wait. You can't have it both. That those two don't mix. It just, you can't have an honest person, someone who's gonna steal. You can't have a nice person who's gonna and somebody who's gonna punch you in your face. It's like those aren't the same person. It's hilarious. Um. Anyway, sorry. That the dude. That I'm sorry. Look, if you're a man, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a woman, you probably don't see these. You probably don't see what the women are saying. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's bad. And it's not my opinion. It's like they literally say, "Don't talk to me," or they say, "I want this, but you better not do it." And it's like, what the fuck do you want from me? And then you have people that literally say, "Nobody likes me and nobody says anything to me, ever says anything to me." And it's like, no, because they're looking for something to make them happy. And what you just said is you don't like yourself. I understand that you don't like yourself, but you don't try to find a mate trying to not like yourself. Like, you need to seek professional help because you don't like yourself, not romantic relationship help because you don't like yourself. You're People don't want you're I understand putting your worst foot forward, like saying, "Look, I got one shorter leg than the other. I'm a little awkward." But when you say, "I hate myself, I have all of these issues, blah blah blah," you're you're just telling people not to come. It goes well beyond being honest. It goes into you self-loathing and self-hating, and it instantly somebody's like, they're happy looking for a mate, and they're just like, "Whoa, no, 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 get away, get away, get away, leave, leave. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I'm happy right now. I don't want to be depressed." So you get swiped instantly, and it doesn't have anything to do with who you are, what you look like, anything like that. It has to do with what you presented. I am so tired of seeing a picture from 15 years ago, and then you go to the next picture and it's from a month ago, and it's two different people, but it's the same damn person. And it's like, look, I understand that's what you used to look like, but you don't look like that anymore. People, we've got to stop lying to ourselves. We got to stop thinking that we're better than regular animals. We're not. Look, we are just like the buck that runs up to the doe, jumps on the back, and starts humping, and then the doe runs away. Or she stays there because she likes the buck. Look, that's. You ever seen a dog hump a leg? Yeah, guys are like that. You may think that we're capable of controlling ourselves and we're civil, but no. If you gave us a leg the size of a human leg to a dog, we'd walk up to it and hump it just like a dog. I'm not lying. Sometimes you'll find guys humping things that look like legs as well. Anyway, okay. I'm just being a dumbass because I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to say today. I wasn't prepared, like always. I just want to give you guys some stupid shit to think about anyway. Look, this is not professional. This is not to make money. This is to give you a free resource to clear your fucking mind. That's it. Yeah, that's why I'm not worrying about cussing. I'm not worrying about editing. I'm not worrying about how much of a dipshit I sound like. I'm not worried about when I make mistakes. I will try to make corrections as best I can. I'm not trying to figure out YouTube or how to make special edits and stuff like that. I just want to give you guys something to think about. Get your minds working. Talk about things that I've thought about. And then soon enough, I'm going to start promoting the channel. And then we're going to start talking about current events and breaking them down to the very basics and why they're happening. Like, the news. Oh, Lord. I am going to clown the news so bad because they're clowning themselves. I don't have to do anything except for say what they say to clown them. And there's a lot of people that do the whole news thing. And I don't want to be like a talking points person. I want to actually break down. I want to take a news article about a subject. Then I want to break down the subject. I give a fuck about the news article. I'll point out how wrong it is and how bad it is because none of these people do any kind of due diligence anymore. They just hear something and write about it. And they think that gossip is news. Whew. News has turned into gossip. Two completely different things. And we need to watch out for that. So, be human. Make yourself human. Get in touch with nature. Just because we live in a house and have a car doesn't mean that we're not animals. Just because we have a home, just because we have television to see other animals on the screen doesn't mean that we aren't animals. Just because we buy our food from a store instead of actually going out and being a predator or working the fields, you know what? Somebody does kill those animals and chop them up. Somebody does go out and work those fields. Just because you're buying the shit from the store doesn't mean that somebody isn't putting in work. Everybody can't be a farmer. Everybody can't be a businessman. Somebody's got to work at McDonald's. Somebody's got to work at the post office. Somebody's got to do something. Somebody needs to work at the post office because they ain't gave me mail in a fucking week. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I love you guys. I wish you well. I always wish you well. You need to step up and start paying attention. If you're already paying attention, cool. I'm an echo chamber, but you want to know what? I think that I'm a positive echo chamber. If you're hearing this and you agree with me, beautiful. Hopefully I'm encouraging you to get out and do it for other people. Do what I'm doing, right? If we got 1 million people sitting here doing what I'm doing, just giving an hour out of their day just to do some shit to give back, look, people aren't going to like me cussing. I understand that. People aren't going to like my tone. People aren't going to like my... And most of all, which I should have done the first time, my damn headset went out again. But I just turned it back on this time. So, I love you. In the outro, too. That's just horrible. I love you. I wish you well. Do the damn thing. As a human being. As an animal in nature. Stop thinking that you're special because you got a fucking marble countertop. That doesn't mean shit. Did you go to the quarry, mine the marble, go to the factory, slice the slab, polish that motherfucker, and make it the size of your counter? No. You paid somebody money. Having money means that you've done something to acquire those resources, but paying for a dope-ass marble countertop is nothing compared to the work and the labor that went into actually producing it. Though, on the other hand, you could be a doctor and have saved the person that cut the marble. So I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying, in circumstances, be human, be an animal, be all about nature. Understand that when we get too far away from nature, we stop being humans, who we actually are. So, do the damn thing. Holla at you.